The hum of the starship Ardent filled the cabin as Leo adjusted the navigation controls. Outside the viewport, the stars stretched into long streaks of light. He had been traveling the outer rim of the nebula expanse for days, charting sectors that had not yet been mapped. The thrill of discovery coursed through him. Humans were still young among the stars, but every new system, every uncharted planet, was a chance to prove that humanity could thrive beyond its home. Leo's fingers danced across the console, making minor adjustments. Sensors indicated an approaching storm, though he could not yet see it. The nebula clouds ahead swirled in colors he had never seen before, green and violet mixing with bright flashes of electric blue. He leaned closer to the viewport. The storm was beautiful and terrifying, like a living painting of energy. He knew the warnings were serious, but curiosity had always been part of him. He slowed the ship slightly, preparing for turbulence. Suddenly, a jolt shook the Ardent. Alarms blared. Leo gripped the controls tightly. The storm hit faster and harder than he expected. Ion bolts of electricity danced across the ship's hull. The lights flickered and systems began to fail one by one. Leo tried to stabilize the engines, but a violent surge threw him against the console. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he ignored it. Survival mattered more than discomfort. The ship groaned as the storm battered it. Leo's fingers worked faster, recalibrating energy flow, rerouting power, but it was useless. The engine sputtered, sparks flying from the panels. He realized the inevitable. The Ardent was going down. His heart pounded, but he stayed calm. Panic never helped anyone. He initiated the emergency landing sequence, guiding the ship toward a nearby planet whose surface showed signs of vegetation and life. The descent was chaotic. Lightning struck the hull, shaking the ship violently. Leo braced himself as the ground rose to meet him. Finally, with a violent crash, the Ardent hit the planet's surface. Metal twisted and groaned. Dust and debris filled the cabin. Leo coughed, wiping soot from his face. The ship had survived just barely, but it was damaged beyond immediate repair. He crawled out of the cockpit, his legs shaky but functional. The landscape outside was strange and mesmerizing. Tall trees with luminous leaves stretched toward the sky. Rivers of liquid light reflected the twin suns overhead. Strange creatures scuttled in the undergrowth, their movements quick but cautious. Leo took a deep breath, feeling both awe and relief. He had survived the storm, but he was far from safe. This was an unknown world, and he had no map, no allies, and no knowledge of the dangers that waited. He began to inspect the ship, checking the damage and making temporary repairs to keep the life support and communications running. As he worked, he sensed movement nearby. At first, he thought it was one of the strange animals, but then he saw a shadow between the trees. He froze, instinct telling him to observe before acting. From the shadow emerged a figure. She was taller than any human, with a slender but powerful build. Her armor gleamed in the strange sunlight, each plate reflecting the colors of the glowing plants around her. Leo felt a shiver of both awe and fear. The armor was unlike anything he had seen, clearly made for battle but also for survival in harsh environments. She stepped forward, her movements smooth and deliberate. Her eyes locked onto him, intense and unyielding. Leo raised his hands, showing he was unarmed. His voice trembled slightly as he spoke. "I mean no harm," he said. The alien woman studied him for a moment, her gaze sharp and analytical. Then she spoke in a clear, commanding voice. "That wound is because of you." Leo's stomach dropped. His mind raced, trying to understand what she meant. He had not attacked anyone. He had only survived a storm. "I don't understand," he said. "I didn't do anything to hurt you." Her expression was hard to read. Anger, pain, and disappointment mixed in her eyes. She moved closer, and Leo saw the edges of her armor shift slightly, revealing a glimpse of a wound beneath. It was fresh, glowing faintly under her skin as if the energy of the planet itself had seeped into the injury. Leo's guilt surged before he fully understood the cause. He remembered the missions his fleet had undertaken. He had been part of the initial wave that mapped this sector of space. In the process, humans had unknowingly triggered conflicts among local alien factions. Somehow his actions, though unintentional, had caused her harm. I didn't know," he said, his voice low. "I didn't mean to." She cut him off with a sharp gesture. "Intent does not erase the result. You caused this wound. Now you must decide if you will make it right or leave me to suffer." Leo swallowed hard. He felt the weight of responsibility like a physical force pressing on his chest. He had always believed in humanity's ability to do good, but now he faced a reality where even unintentional actions could cause harm. Still, he refused to turn away. "I will help you," he said firmly. "Whatever it takes. I will make this right." The alien woman studied him for a long moment. Then slowly she lowered her weapon, a sleek energy blade attached to her armor. "Very well," she said. "But understand this. Trust must be earned, and the journey ahead will not be easy." Leo nodded. Despite the storm still raging in the sky above, a sense of purpose filled him. He had survived the storm, but now a different kind of challenge lay before him. One that would test courage, compassion, and the very best qualities of humanity. She introduced herself as Vara, a warrior and guardian of her people. Her people had lived on this planet for centuries, keeping the delicate balance of their ecosystems and defending their territory against hostile factions. The wound she bore was the result of a skirmish started when humans had unknowingly entered contested space. Leo listened carefully, absorbing everything. He realized that survival alone was not enough. Humans could not simply explore and conquer without understanding the consequences. This planet, these people, were not just part of the scenery. They had lives, cultures, and struggles that deserved respect. Vara's gaze softened slightly as she watched him absorb this lesson. "Actions have consequences even when hidden," she said. "You must learn that quickly or more will be harmed." Leo nodded again. "I understand. I want to help. I want to learn." For the first time, a small hint of relief crossed Vara's face. She knew that not all humans were careless. Some were capable of empathy, courage, and honor. Perhaps this one could be trusted, but only time would tell. Together, they began preparations to leave the immediate crash site. Leo would assist Vara in reaching a sanctuary where she could be healed, and she would teach him about her world and its dangers. The forest around them was alive with movement, light, and sound. Leo felt both excitement and fear. Every step could bring danger, but it could also bring understanding. As they moved through the glowing underbrush, Leo marveled at the world around him. Plants that shimmered with internal light, rivers that flowed like liquid crystal, and creatures that seemed to float through the air, all reminded him of the vastness of the universe and the small, yet important place humans could occupy within it. Vara kept a careful watch, scanning for threats and guiding Leo. She was cautious, but her presence was steadying. For the first time since the crash, Leo felt a sense of hope. Despite the pain, the blame, and the unknown dangers ahead, there was a chance to make things right. Night fell on the alien planet, and the sky lit up with auroras of brilliant colors. Leo and Vara set up a temporary camp, taking turns keeping watch. Leo shared what little food and supplies remained from the Ardent, while Vara tended to her wound as best she could, using natural remedies from the forest. Around the campfire, they began to speak cautiously about their lives. Leo spoke of humanity, of exploration, and of mistakes made in ignorance. Vara spoke of her people, their traditions, and the responsibilities of guardianship. Though the conversation was careful, a bridge began to form between them. Leo realized that this encounter was more than survival. It was a chance to prove that humanity could be a force for good in the universe, that compassion, courage, and understanding could overcome mistakes and build trust. As the twin suns set, painting the sky in colors he could not name, Leo looked at Vara and thought about the long journey ahead. The path would be difficult, full of challenges and dangers, but he knew that together they could face it. Humanity had a chance to show its best side, and he intended to do everything he could to make that happen. For now, the wound under Vara's armor was a reminder of the cost of ignorance. The storm that had brought him here was over, but the real storm, the storm of responsibility, understanding, and action, was only beginning. Leo closed his eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath. Tomorrow they would begin their journey across the alien world. Tomorrow he would begin to make things right. And for the first time in days, he felt ready. The morning light filtered through the glowing leaves, painting the forest floor with colors Leo had never imagined. Tiny streams of light danced across the undergrowth as strange creatures flitted from branch to branch. Leo stretched his stiff muscles, feeling the soreness from the crash, yet there was a strange sense of peace in the alien morning. Vara stood nearby, surveying the forest with calm precision. Her armor still gleamed, though her wound pulsed faintly beneath it. She moved with the ease of someone completely in tune with her surroundings. Every step she took was purposeful, every glance calculated. Leo watched her, fascinated by the way she seemed part of the world around her, yet distinct from it. "We need to reach the sanctuary," Vera said, her voice steady. "It is not far from here, but the path is dangerous. Many creatures, both wild and hostile, roam this forest. We must move carefully." Leo nodded. "I understand. I want to help in any way I can. Tell me what to do." She studied him for a moment. "It is not enough to follow orders. You must learn to see this world as we do, not just as humans passing through. Then you may survive." Leo felt a wave of humility. He had traveled many worlds, but this one was different. It was not just a planet to explore. It was alive, with rules, dangers, and a history that humans did not yet understand. He realized the mistakes his fleet had made were not born of malice, but of ignorance. As they moved through the forest, Vara explained more about her people. They were guardians of the planet, a species that had evolved with a deep understanding of balance. Every action had consequences, and they protected both the land and the creatures that lived on it. "Our people have lived here for generations," Vera said. "We guard the borders of our territories and maintain harmony. When outsiders enter, it can cause conflict. Your arrival, though unintentional, triggered one such conflict. That is why I am wounded." Leo felt a knot of guilt tighten in his chest. "I never meant to hurt anyone. I just wanted to explore and learn. I did not know my actions could cause so much harm." Vara looked at him carefully. "Intent is not always enough. Results matter more. You have survived the storm and your ship has carried you here. That gives you a chance to make a choice, leave us to suffer or help restore what has been broken." "I want to help," Leo said firmly. "I will do whatever it takes to make this right." Vara's gaze softened slightly, though a caution remained. "Then you will learn quickly. This journey will not be simple. There will be tests of skill, of judgment, and of courage. If you succeed, you may gain understanding and trust. If you fail, more will be harmed." Leo nodded, determined. "I am ready." The forest grew denser as they progressed, and the challenges began almost immediately. Strange plants with luminous tendrils blocked their path, shifting as though they were alive. Leo hesitated, unsure how to navigate the strange vegetation. Vara demonstrated a careful, precise method, pressing certain plants in a specific order, causing the tendrils to retract. "You must observe and learn," she said. "Force will not always work here. Patience is stronger than brute strength." Leo followed her lead, paying close attention. Slowly, he began to understand the rhythm of the forest. Every movement, every sound, every change in light could hold meaning. He realized that survival was not only about strength or technology, it was about understanding and respect. As they walked, Leo asked about the skirmish that caused Vara's wound. She explained that a rival faction of aliens had been testing the borders, and the humans' presence had been seen as an intrusion. The rival faction attacked, and Vara was injured protecting her people. "I did not know humans could enter this sector," she said quietly. "But now, because of your fleet, I bear this wound. Do you understand the weight of this?" "Yes," Leo said, his voice low. "I understand now. And I will do what I can to fix it." For the first time, Vara allowed a faint smile. "Good. That is the first step. Many outsiders would flee or ignore their mistakes. You have chosen differently." Their journey continued, and soon they encountered a river that glowed with a strange blue liquid. It was not water as Leo knew it. The surface shimmered like liquid crystal, and small luminous creatures darted beneath it. The current was strong, and crossing it would be dangerous. Vara examined the river carefully. "We must cross, but not by force. Observe the creatures. Notice the rocks. There is a path where the current is weaker. Follow me." Leo watched and learned. Vara moved gracefully, testing the rocks for stability, sensing the subtle currents that could sweep them away. He mimicked her movements, careful not to disturb the glowing creatures. Step by step, they crossed the river safely. "You are learning quickly," Vara said. "That is a good sign. Humans often rush, relying only on strength or tools. But here, understanding and patience are more valuable than power." Leo felt a sense of accomplishment, but he also realized how much he still had to learn. This world was unlike anything he had encountered. It demanded humility, observation, and respect. He understood why Vara's people valued harmony above all else. As they moved deeper into the forest, Leo noticed signs of the rival faction: broken branches, scorched patches of ground, and strange markings on the trees. Vara's eyes narrowed. "They are near. We must be careful. Do not engage unless necessary. Their technology is dangerous and they will strike without warning. Leo nodded. He had faced danger before, but this was different. This was not just a battle of weapons. It was a test of understanding, strategy, and restraint. He felt the weight of responsibility. He could not make mistakes here. Lives depended on it. Suddenly, they heard a low, rumbling growl. From behind a cluster of luminous trees, a massive creature emerged. Its skin shimmered like metal and its eyes glowed red. It was clearly a predator, and it had noticed them. Vera moved in front of Leo, raising her energy blade in a defensive stance. Stay behind me. Do not panic. Observe its movements and be ready to act when necessary. The creature circled them, testing their reactions. Leo noticed patterns in its behavior, small tells that indicated when it would lunge. He followed Vera's lead, moving carefully and calmly. Together they managed to avoid the predator, guiding it away without harming it. That was good, Vera said afterward. Many would have panicked and attacked blindly. You are learning to adapt, to respect life rather than destroy it. That is important. Leo felt pride mixed with relief. He was learning, but every step reminded him of the consequences of ignorance. He understood that survival was not just about living. It was about protecting, understanding, and making choices that respected all life around him. As evening approached, they found a small clearing and set up a temporary camp. Vara used natural materials from the forest to create a resting place, while Leo checked the supplies he had salvaged from the Ardent. They shared a simple meal, and the conversation turned to culture and history. Vera explained the traditions of her people, how they trained from a young age to protect the planet, how every action was weighed against its potential consequences. Leo listened, fascinated. He realized that humans had much to learn from this perspective. You humans move quickly seeking results, Vera said. But here, patience, observation, and respect are stronger than speed or force. Remember that. I understand, Leo said. I want to learn. I want to do better. For the first time since the crash, the tension between them eased. They were no longer just survivor and wounded warrior. They were companions on a journey, learning from each other and facing the unknown together. As night fell, the twin moons rose in the sky, casting silver light over the forest. Leo stared at them, thinking about how far he had come. From a simple mission of exploration, he had been thrown into a world of responsibility, understanding, and growth. He realized that humanity's greatest strength was not just in technology or numbers, but in courage, compassion, and the willingness to learn from mistakes. Vara lay down to rest, still alert, still cautious, but no longer hostile. Leo kept watch for a while, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He was not just a human lost on a strange planet. He was a representative of his species, capable of showing the best of humanity. Tomorrow they would continue toward the sanctuary. Challenges awaited, tests of skill, judgment, and heart. Leo felt ready to face them. He knew the journey would not be easy, but he also knew that he had the chance to make a difference. As he closed his eyes for a brief rest, he thought of Vara's words and her wound. He understood the weight of consequences and the power of choice. He would not fail. Humanity's strength was not just in survival. It was in courage, honor, and compassion, and he would show it in every step of the journey ahead. The forest whispered around him, alive with light, sound, and energy. Leo felt a strange sense of connection, not just to the planet, but to the future he could help shape. One step at a time, he would make things right. One step at a time, he would prove that humanity could be a force for good in the universe. The forest grew thicker as Leo and Vera moved forward, the glowing foliage casting shifting patterns of light across the ground. Every step was careful, deliberate. Leo had begun to understand that this planet was alive in ways humans had not encountered before. It was not just a backdrop for exploration. It was a world that demanded respect, patience, and understanding. Vera moved ahead, scanning the terrain, her energy blade ready but not raised. She walked with the quiet confidence of someone who knew the forest intimately. Leo followed closely, copying her movements, learning to anticipate the subtle signs of danger. The glow of plants under their feet pulsed faintly, as though the world itself was aware of them. "Stay alert," Vera said, her voice low. "There are creatures here that will not hesitate to attack if they sense fear. Observe their behavior, adapt, do not act rashly." Leo nodded. He had learned to control his fear, to focus on observation rather than reaction. As they progressed, he noticed small details Vera had pointed out. A slight twitch in the leaves indicating movement, a shimmer in the air hinting at an invisible predator, the soft vibrations in the ground suggesting something heavy approaching. Each detail mattered. Suddenly, a loud snap echoed through the forest. Leo froze, his heart racing. Vara immediately dropped to a crouch, motioning for him to do the same. From the shadows, a group of alien creatures emerged. They were smaller than Vara, but numerous, with sharp claws and eyes that glowed faintly red. Their movements were quick and coordinated. "Do not attack unless necessary," Vara whispered. "They are testing us. Show them respect, not aggression." Leo swallowed hard and stayed crouched. The creatures approached, circling them, making low growling noises. Leo noticed patterns in their movement and realized they were gauging their strength. He remained calm, copying Vara's careful breathing and still posture. After tense moments, the creatures retreated, disappearing into the foliage. "You are learning," Vara said quietly. "Many would panic or strike first. Understanding the intention of others is just as important as physical strength." Leo nodded, feeling a surge of pride mixed with relief. Every encounter was a lesson, and each step forward built his understanding of this strange world. As they continued, Vara explained more about her people's history. They had lived on this planet for centuries, learning its secrets and defending it from those who would harm its balance. Their culture valued harmony above all else. Technology was used carefully, not recklessly, and every action was measured against the potential impact on the planet and its inhabitants. "You humans are young among the stars," Vera said. "You often rush into places without understanding the consequences. You have potential, but only if you learn to act with awareness and care." "I want to learn," Leo said. "I want to show that humans can do the right thing. We can make mistakes, but we can also correct them." Vera studied him closely. For a moment, her expression softened. "Your words are promising. Actions will prove your intentions. Remember that." Hours passed as they navigated the dense forest. The terrain grew more challenging. Jagged rocks, glowing vines, and sudden drops forced them to move carefully. Leo began to rely not only on Vera's guidance but also on his own growing instincts. He noticed changes in the environment before she did, signaling that his understanding of the forest was deepening. As dusk approached, they reached a plateau overlooking a valley. The valley below was filled with luminescent plants and winding rivers that glowed like molten crystal. In the distance, Leo could see structures that resembled towers made of living rock and light. Vara's eyes narrowed. "That is the sanctuary," she said. "But it is not safe yet. The rival faction may be watching. We must move carefully." Leo felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The sanctuary represented safety and healing for Vara, but it also represented the next stage of their journey, facing the rival faction and proving that humans could be allies rather than threats. They descended into the valley carefully. Vara taught Leo how to move silently, how to read the subtle signs of danger, and how to anticipate the movements of others. Leo absorbed every lesson eagerly. He realized that survival was about more than physical skill. It was about perception, judgment, and respect for life. As they neared the sanctuary, a sudden disturbance caught their attention. A group of the rival faction emerged from the shadows. Unlike the smaller creatures they had encountered earlier, these aliens were larger and more aggressive. They carried energy weapons and moved with clear intent to dominate the area. Vara positioned herself between Leo and the approaching group. "We do not seek conflict, but we will defend the sanctuary. Follow my lead." Leo's heart pounded, but he stayed calm. He had learned from Vara that panic would only worsen the situation. He focused on observation, noticing the enemy's patterns and weaknesses. Together, they prepared for the confrontation. The rival faction advanced cautiously, testing the defenses of the sanctuary. Vara engaged them first, using precise movements and controlled energy strikes. Leo watched, learning how to complement her attacks. When the opportunity arose, he used his human ingenuity to create distractions and openings, helping Vara push the enemies back without unnecessary harm. The battle was tense, but they managed to repel the attackers. Leo realized that his human adaptability and Vara's disciplined skill were a strong combination. Together, they could face challenges that neither could overcome alone. After the confrontation, They took a moment to catch their breath. Vara's wound throbbed faintly, a reminder of the reason they were on this journey. Leo examined it carefully, doing what he could to help her heal using the natural remedies she had shown him. "You are learning quickly," Vara said. "Your presence here has made a difference. You are not just a human passing through. You are choosing to act, to take responsibility, to protect life." Leo felt a deep sense of purpose. He realized that this journey was not only about helping Vara but also about proving something greater: humanity's ability to act with courage, compassion, and honor in a universe that was often indifferent to life. As night fell, they reached the sanctuary itself. The structures were carved from living rock, glowing faintly with internal energy. Streams of light ran along the walls, and the air was filled with a soft hum that seemed to resonate with the planet itself. Vara led Leo inside, showing him how to navigate the sanctuary without disturbing its balance. Healing chambers awaited her, but the rival faction could return at any moment. They needed to fortify their position and remain vigilant. Leo marveled at the sanctuary. It was a place of peace, but also of strength. Every structure, every light, every sound was carefully balanced to protect life and maintain harmony. He understood why Vara's people fought so hard to defend it. "That wound you carry is more than physical," Leo said quietly. "It is a symbol of what happens when balance is disturbed. I understand now why it is so important to protect this place." Vara looked at him, her eyes reflecting both pain and a growing trust. "Yes, and now you understand a little of what it means to take responsibility. The journey ahead will test you further, but you have shown that humans can rise to the challenge." They spent the night in the sanctuary, keeping watch and preparing for the challenges to come. Leo thought about his fleet, about the mistakes that had led him here, and about the chance he had to prove that humanity could act with honor and respect. By the time the twin moons rose over the valley, Leo felt a sense of resolve. He knew the path ahead would be dangerous, full of tests and trials, but he also knew that he was no longer alone. Vara had become both a guide and a companion. Together, they could face the dangers of the forest, the rival faction, and the lessons that awaited. The journey was far from over. Healing, understanding, and trust would take time, but Leo felt ready. He had learned the first lessons of respect, observation, and responsibility. He had seen the consequences of ignorance, and he had chosen a different path. Tomorrow they would continue deeper into the sanctuary. The rival faction could return, and the forest held dangers they had yet to encounter. But Leo was no longer just a visitor in this world. He was a participant, a protector, and a representative of humanity's potential for good. As he looked at Vara, he realized that the bond they were forming was built not on shared history, but on shared values: courage, honor, and the willingness to do what was right. Together they would face the unknown, and together they would show that even in a vast and dangerous universe, humanity could rise to meet the challenges before it. For now, the night was calm. The sanctuary hummed softly, a reminder of what they were protecting and what they could achieve. Leo closed his eyes for a short rest, feeling the weight of responsibility but also the hope of what lay ahead. Morning broke over the sanctuary with a soft golden light. The glowing plants of the valley reflected the sunrise, bathing the living stone structures in colors that seemed to shimmer with life. Leo woke early, his mind alert, aware that danger could come at any moment. Vara was already standing outside, scanning the forest with practiced eyes. "We cannot let our guard down," she said quietly. "The rival faction will attempt another attack. They know we are here, and they will strike soon." Leo nodded, checking the supplies he had brought from the Ardent. They had enough food and energy cells to last several days, but the sanctuary itself was their main strength. Its natural defenses and Vara's knowledge of the terrain were critical. "I understand," Leo said. "We will be ready." Vara studied him for a moment. "You have learned much since the crash. Your understanding of this world is improving, but understanding alone will not be enough. Today you will face a real test. Are you ready to act, not just observe?" Leo met her gaze. "I am ready." The first signs of the rival faction appeared mid-morning. Shadows moved through the forest, subtle at first, then more obvious as the group approached. They were larger in number than the last time, and their energy weapons glinted in the sunlight. Leo felt his pulse quicken, but he kept calm. This was what he had been preparing for. Vara positioned herself at the entrance to the sanctuary. "We defend, but we do not seek unnecessary conflict. Watch, learn, and act when needed. Our goal is to protect life, not destroy it. The rival faction advanced cautiously, clearly testing the sanctuary's defenses. Leo observed their formation, noting weak points and possible strategies. His human ingenuity combined with Vara's experience allowed them to anticipate the enemy's moves. As the first group of attackers reached the edge of the clearing, Vara struck with precision. Her energy blade cut through the air, creating a force field that pushed the attackers back without harming them. Leo watched, then took action, using portable energy disruptors from the Ardent to create diversions and slow the enemy's advance. The battle escalated quickly. The rival faction pushed harder, attempting to break through the sanctuary's natural defenses. Leo realized that brute force alone would not work. He needed to combine his knowledge of technology with Vara's understanding of the terrain. "Follow me," Vara shouted. She led him along a narrow path that wound through glowing vines and jagged rocks. Leo adjusted his energy disruptors, placing them strategically to block the enemy's approach. Together, they created traps and obstacles that slowed the attackers while minimizing harm. The rival faction responded with aggression, but Leo noticed patterns in their movements. They were disciplined but predictable. He communicated silently with Vara through subtle gestures, coordinating their efforts. Step by step, they forced the attackers back, using intelligence and strategy rather than sheer force. Vara's wound throbbed as she fought, but she did not falter. Leo moved to support her, using his technology to create shields and diversions. He realized that this partnership, human ingenuity and alien skill, was powerful. They complemented each other in ways that neither could achieve alone. The battle reached its climax near a river of liquid light. The rival faction attempted a final push, concentrating their forces to overwhelm the sanctuary. Leo and Vara stood side by side, their combined strategy holding firm. Leo activated a sequence of energy disruptors that created a wave of interference, confusing the attackers and forcing them to retreat. As the last of the rival faction fled into the forest, Vara lowered her energy blade. She was breathing heavily, but a look of pride crossed her face. "You acted wisely," she said. "You did not act out of anger or fear. You made choices that protected life. That is the difference between survival and destruction." Leo felt a surge of relief and pride. He had faced danger and used his knowledge, courage, and judgment to protect the sanctuary. But he also understood that the lesson was more than tactics. It was about understanding consequences, respecting life, and making choices that aligned with a higher purpose. After the battle, they assessed the sanctuary. No permanent damage had occurred, thanks to their careful defense. Vara's people, who had been hidden in safe chambers, emerged to check on her. Their eyes reflected both gratitude and respect for Leo. For a human to act with such awareness and courage was unusual, and they recognized it. Vara tended to her wound more carefully now. She allowed Leo to assist her, guiding his hands as he applied natural remedies. The process was slow, but it demonstrated trust and cooperation. Leo understood that helping her heal was part of the lesson. Action spoke louder than words. "You have grown," Vara said as she rested. "You understand that power alone is not enough. Intelligence, compassion, and judgment are equally important. Today, you proved that humans can act with honor and wisdom." Leo smiled, though he was tired. "I have much to learn, but I want to continue. I want to help your people, and I want to make sure my presence here does more good than harm." Vara's gaze softened. "Then the next step is to understand the deeper challenges. This planet has many layers, many secrets. Protection is not only about defending against enemies, it is about understanding the forces that shape this world." Leo listened carefully as Vara explained the balance of the ecosystem, the energies that flowed through the planet, and the ways her people maintained harmony. Every detail mattered, every choice had consequences. Leo realized that the lesson extended beyond the sanctuary.
Humanity could bring technology, strength, and ingenuity,
but only wisdom and respect would allow it to thrive among other civilizations. As they moved through the sanctuary, Vara showed Leo chambers where her people stored energy, nurtured life, and healed the injured. Leo marveled at the integration of technology and natural harmony. There were no wasted resources, no reckless use of power. Every structure and device served a purpose, maintaining balance and life. "This is what I wanted to learn," Leo said quietly. "That humans can create, protect, and act with care. That technology can be used wisely, not just for destruction." Vara nodded. Yes, you have seen it in action and now you are part of it. You acted not just for yourself but for life itself. That is rare among humans but possible. You are proof of what humanity can achieve when guided by wisdom and compassion. The day passed with quiet reflection. Leo helped reinforce the sanctuary, learned more about Vara's people, and practiced techniques to anticipate danger without resorting to violence. Every lesson built his confidence and understanding. He felt the weight of responsibility, but also the pride of knowing he could make a positive difference. By nightfall, the forest had returned to its calm rhythm. The creatures moved quietly, the glowing plants pulsed gently, and the sanctuary hummed with energy. Leo stood beside Vara, looking out over the valley. The twin moons rose, casting silver light that danced across the liquid rivers. You have proven yourself today, Vara said softly. But remember, this is only one challenge. Greater tests will come. Choices will become more difficult. But if you continue to act with courage and wisdom, humanity can indeed become a force for good in the universe. Leo felt a deep sense of purpose. He had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, and he had chosen the path of responsibility, compassion, and action. The lesson was clear. Survival alone was not enough. True strength came from understanding, respecting, and protecting life, even when it was difficult. As they settled to rest, Leo reflected on everything he had learned. He thought about his fleet, the mistakes made through ignorance and the opportunity to correct them. He understood that every action mattered, and that humanity's potential was not in power alone, but in the courage to do what was right. The night passed peacefully. Leo and Vara kept watch, alert to any movement in the forest. Each moment of calm reinforced the lesson that vigilance, preparation, and wisdom were key to survival and harmony. By the time dawn arrived, Leo felt stronger, more aware, and ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. The rival faction might return and new dangers could appear, but he was no longer just a human lost on a strange planet. He was a protector, a learner, and a representative of humanity's potential to rise above mistakes and act with honor. The journey was far from over, but Leo knew he was on the right path. He had faced danger and made choices that aligned with his values. He had earned trust and shown courage, and he had learned that the greatest victories were not measured by force but by wisdom, compassion, and the willingness to protect life. Together, Leo and Vara prepared for the next stage of the journey. The sanctuary would remain a place of safety, but the real test was yet to come. Leo understood that the universe was full of challenges, but he also knew that humanity could rise to meet them, not through domination but through courage, intelligence, and care. For now, the valley was calm, the rival faction driven away, and the lessons of the day firmly etched into Leo's mind. He would carry them forward, using them to guide his actions and to show that humans could act with honor, even in the face of danger. And as the first rays of the sun touched the glowing rivers, Leo felt a renewed determination. He had learned the power of choice, the importance of understanding, and the strength that comes from courage and compassion. The journey was just beginning, and he was ready. The twin suns rose over the valley, casting long beams of light across the glowing sanctuary. Leo awoke early, his body tired but his mind sharp. The events of the past days weighed heavily on him, but there was also a sense of hope and purpose. Vara was already awake, checking the perimeter and scanning the forest with her keen eyes. "Today we'll test everything you have learned," Vara said quietly without turning. "The rival faction has not given up. They are planning another attack, stronger and more coordinated. We must be prepared." Leo nodded, checking his equipment and the supplies from the Ardent. They had fortified the sanctuary, creating barriers that used both technology and the natural energy of the planet. Leo realized that their strength lay, not just in weapons but in understanding, strategy, and unity. "I am ready," he said firmly. Vara glanced at him. "Good. You have learned patience, observation, and respect. But today, courage and quick thinking will be tested. Remember what you have learned. Strength is not enough. Wisdom and compassion matter more." They moved toward the edge of the sanctuary, where the first signs of the rival faction appeared. Unlike previous attacks, this group was larger and better organized. They had clearly learned from past failures and were determined to breach the defenses. Leo felt the tension rise, but he focused on observation and planning. Vara positioned herself at the forefront. We defend, but only strike when necessary. Focus on protecting life, not harming unnecessarily. Watch my lead. The battle began. As the rival faction advanced, their energy weapons glowing ominously, Leo and Vara worked together seamlessly. He activated energy disruptors to create barriers and distractions, while Vara used her blade and tactical skills to block and redirect attackers. Step by step, they pushed the enemy back, minimizing harm while maintaining control. Leo noticed patterns in the enemy's movements. They were disciplined but predictable. He shared his observations with Vara through subtle gestures, coordinating their actions. Their teamwork was precise, combining human ingenuity and Vara's experience. A group of attackers tried to flank the sanctuary from the south. Leo acted quickly, setting up a diversion that misled them into a natural trap created by glowing vines and jagged rocks. Vara struck at the attackers who reached the main path, using precise, controlled energy strikes. The rival faction faltered, showing hesitation for the first time. "You are doing well," Vara said, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Do not lose focus. Protect the sanctuary, protect life, and act with courage." Leo felt a surge of determination. This was more than a battle. It was a test of responsibility, judgment, and the ability to act under pressure. He realized that humanity's greatest strength was not brute force, but the courage to make the right choices, even when fear threatened to take control. The rival faction regrouped and launched a final desperate push. Their energy weapons fired in coordinated bursts, targeting the sanctuary's defenses. Leo and Vara stood side by side, anticipating their movements. Leo activated a series of energy pulses that disrupted the attackers' formation, while Vara created openings to channel them into safe zones without harm. The battle reached its peak near the glowing river. The attackers pressed forward, but Leo and Vara remained calm and focused. Using a combination of strategy, technology, and understanding of the terrain, they forced the rival faction to retreat. Step by step, the attackers withdrew into the forest, their morale broken. When the last of the rival faction fled, a sense of relief washed over Leo. The sanctuary was safe, and life within it was unharmed. Vara's wound had been tended carefully throughout the battle, and now it could finally heal fully. Leo assisted her, applying natural remedies and following her guidance. "You have proven yourself," Vara said quietly as she rested, "not only through your actions, but through your judgment, patience, and courage. You have shown that humans can act with honor and care, even in the face of danger." Leo smiled, though he was exhausted. "I have much to learn, but I want to continue. I want to help your people, and I want to make sure that humans can be a positive force in the universe." Vara nodded. "Then the next step is to build understanding, not just between us, but between our peoples. Trust is fragile, but it can grow. You have begun that process today." The sanctuary's inhabitants began to emerge, observing Leo with cautious curiosity. They had watched the battle from hidden chambers, and now they approached, recognizing the human who had acted with courage and wisdom. Some brought supplies, others offered healing herbs. Leo felt the warmth of acceptance, a feeling unfamiliar but deeply rewarding. Over the following days, Leo worked alongside Vara and her people. They repaired the sanctuary, strengthened defenses, and shared knowledge. He learned about their culture, their connection to the planet, and their methods of maintaining harmony. In turn, he shared what he knew of human technology, offering ideas to enhance their defenses without disrupting the natural balance. Vara's wound healed steadily, a symbol of trust and cooperation. Leo's presence had turned from a source of guilt to a source of support and learning. They moved through the sanctuary together, teaching and observing, ensuring that every action maintained harmony and minimized risk. One afternoon, Leo and Vara stood overlooking the valley from a high ledge. The glowing rivers and luminescent forests stretched as far as the eye could see. Leo realized how fragile and beautiful this world was, and how easily ignorance could cause harm. You humans have the potential to do great good, Vara said, but only if you act with awareness and care. Today, you have proven that some of your kind can rise to the challenge. Leo nodded. I understand now. Strength alone is not enough. Knowledge, compassion, and courage matter more. I will carry that lesson with me. Vara smiled faintly. Then our worlds may grow closer, and our peoples may learn from one another. That is the beginning of unity. As they continued their work, the forest around them thrived. The rival faction did not return, deterred by the combined strategy, courage, and intelligence displayed by Leo and Vara. Life in the sanctuary returned to a peaceful rhythm, with energy flowing through the rivers, plants, and structures in harmony. Leo realized that the journey had changed him. He had faced danger, responsibility, and consequences. He had learned that humanity's greatest strength was not technology or numbers, but the ability to act with wisdom, courage, and compassion. Vara had guided him, but he had also proven himself. The final test had been more than a battle. It had been a lesson in understanding, trust, and the power of choice. Leo knew that his actions would echo beyond this planet. His presence had forged a bridge between humans and Vara's people, a bridge built on respect, courage, and cooperation. Vara's wound, now fully healed, was a symbol of renewal. The sanctuary was safe, a testament to the lessons learned and the choices made. Leo felt pride and humility, knowing that he had contributed to something greater than himself. As the twin suns set, casting long beams of golden and violet light across the valley, Leo and Vara stood together. The journey had been difficult, full of challenges and danger, but it had also been a journey of growth, understanding, and unity. We have accomplished much, Vara said softly. But remember, this is only the beginning. The universe is vast, and there will always be challenges. What matters is how you face them and the choices you make. I understand, Leo said, and I will carry these lessons wherever I go. Humanity can learn from this, and we can act with care, courage, and honor. Vara looked at him with respect. You have shown that even in a world not your own, you can act as a force for good. That is the true meaning of strength. The night settled over the sanctuary. The glowing rivers reflected the stars above, and the gentle hum of energy filled the air. Leo felt a deep sense of peace and purpose. The lessons of responsibility, understanding, and compassion were now part of him, guiding every thought and action. Over the next weeks, Leo helped establish communication between the sanctuary and the human fleet. He shared knowledge of the planet, its inhabitants, and the lessons learned. His goal was not to exploit or dominate, but to foster understanding, cooperation, and respect. Vara worked alongside him, teaching him more about her people's culture and the delicate balance of life on the planet. They trained together, explored together, and shared knowledge, forming a bond that transcended species and language. Leo realized that the wound he had once caused, though unintentional, had become a bridge for connection, learning, and unity. Humanity had made a mistake, but it had also demonstrated the capacity to act with courage, wisdom, and compassion. The rival faction was no longer a threat. They had been shown that humans, when guided by honor and respect, could be allies rather than intruders. The sanctuary and its people thrived, and Leo felt proud to be part of that success. In the glow of the twin moons, Leo and Vara stood overlooking the valley. The forest pulsed with life, rivers shimmered with light, and the sanctuary stood as a testament to courage, wisdom, and cooperation. You have learned much, Vara said, and you have shown that humanity can be more than a force of exploration. You have shown that humanity can choose to act with honor, protect life, and build unity. Leo smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility lift slightly. I have learned that strength alone is not enough. The greatest victories come from